today I will be working on a more experimental piece of dark applier that I ended up really liking. It's one where I made his head full of flowers. The inspiration came from that AI that turns pictures into flower fields or other things. I thought it would look cool if I kept the body as it is and experimented with the colors, but filled the head with some kind of flower field. So I will leave some moments of quiet because I have described my process many times already. So if you're interested in details on how I paint, this isn't quite a good example because this is a more, once again, experimental piece, but I do have quite a few videos on how I paint dark applier or how I draw in general that you can go watch if you'd like. The sketch is really bad for some reason. I'm really bad at sketching, even more so to this day, because I'm currently on a medication that makes me incredibly shaky, so my lines are like not good looking. I didn't do like I usually do where I refine the sketch before going in. I just started painting over it, kind of like a traditional one. And I experimented with the colors a lot. Usually I like using blues, but here I use peachy tones and purples. For those who are curious, I am using Procreate. To add the color, I'm using the turpentine brush, and to blend them, I believe I'm using the oil paint brush. I am not quite sure, but I just add colors and blend them and maybe add some back. Don't overblend things. Always add some colors back onto it if you can, because sometimes it can turn the colors really muddy, especially with Procreate's blending. Procreate's blending is not that good. A tip that I have given before is that when you are shading, do not just use a darker color of your color. Try to switch the hue. It can make the piece a whole lot more interesting to look at. As I was shading the flowers, I sometimes switched the hue quite drastically for the highlights to make them more interesting looking. Like if the flower was supposed to be blue, sometimes I'd use a pinkish highlight, or quite the opposite like I'm doing now. I have a pink flower and I'm using a blue highlight. Right now, since I had already done one half, I copy and pasted one half onto the other side and I modified it a little bit, like just repainted over some parts to make it look better. Right now it's unblended, but I will blend it later. Here I am adding a chromatic aberration to the piece, and I also duplicated it, put it in the background, used the Gaussian blur, and used some glitch and chromatic aberration on it. Right now I am duplicating my piece and using a gradient map that goes from red to blue on it, and setting it to some setting to make the piece a little bit more blue and red like Darkiplier is. I set my signature, and there you have it. That is the piece. I hope you enjoyed this video and that you will subscribe if you liked it. And if you want, my commissions are open. I can make you pieces like this if you'd like. Thank you and goodbye.